They say our reflections are just shadows of ourselves, predictable, obedient, a perfect mimic. But what happens when that mirror image refuses to behave as it should? When it looks back at you with an intention all its own? This is the story of a mirror that didn't blink, and the quiet horror that followed. In a quiet suburban neighborhood, where the snow-blanketed lawns and streetlights glowed orange against the darkness, lived Clara and her roommate, Jake. Their house was ordinary, the kind of place neighbors borrowed sugar from and waved hello on warm Sundays. But in the hallway, facing the staircase, hung an old antique mirror Clara had found at a yard sale. Its ornate frame seemed out of place in their modern home, antique, heavy, and inexplicably cold to the touch. No one thought much of it at first, until the night the snow began falling unexpectedly, not in flakes, but in silent torrents that dusted the earth like whispered secrets. One evening, Jake was brushing past the mirror in the darkened hallway when he thought he saw the reflection hang just a fraction of a second too long. A delay so small he would have dismissed it if it weren't for the chill that shot up his spine. Later that week, Clara mentioned something similar. She swore she saw her reflection smile back at her just before she turned the corner. But when she rewound her step and looked again, the glass was as blank as any ordinary mirror. They laughed it off at first, attributing it to stress, late nights, and shadows cast by passing headlights. The house was silent, save for the tick of the old clock in the living room. She rose from the couch to get a glass of water, and as she passed the mirror, something made her look, truly look, at her reflection. Her breath caught. The figure in the glass didn't blink back. She blinked, slow, deliberate, and her reflection stayed still. Not indifferent, not confused, just unblinking. The room's silence fell heavy, like a wet cloth over the ears. Clara backed away slowly, heart hammering, but her eyes remained fixed on the mirror. A moment later, she heard footsteps, soft, deliberate, coming from behind her. She whirled around. Empty hallway, just the echo of a footstep that wasn't hers. The next morning, Clara told Jake what she'd seen. He tried to calm her, sipping his coffee and reminding her logically that mirrors don't defy physics. But later that night, when he brushed past the same mirror and, like her, caught his reflection frozen in place while he moved on, all logic left the room. They stopped walking past that hallway. They tried covering the mirror with blankets, then with boxes, then with thick cloths. But every morning, no matter how tightly wrapped, the cloth would be folded on the floor, the mirror uncovered, like it had demanded to be seen. The silence in the house changed. It felt watched. Nights grew colder, even with the heater on full. Clara began waking with goosebumps, convinced she'd seen shapes dart at the edge of her vision. Jake started leaving lights on, as though darkness aided whatever was in the mirror. One night, as they sat in the living room, a flicker of motion from the hallway caught Clara's eye. She turned, and there it was. Not her reflection, not Jake's. A figure stood gazing from the mirror's surface, pale, empty-eyed, expression unreadable, and not blinking. Clara froze. Jake stood, jaw clenched, as the figure reached out, a shimmering hint of a hand inside the glass. Then it smiled, slow, unnatural, like a glitch in something that should have mirrored the living. Panicked, Jake reached for Clara's hand. "We have to leave," he whispered. They fled to their bedroom, slammed the door, and sat in darkness, breathing labored. Hours passed. They thought it was over. But then the light in the hallway flickered once, twice. And when the bedroom door slowly creaked open, two pairs of eyes met theirs from the darkness of the mirror, unblinking, wide, and watching. Clara screamed. Jake called for help. No sound came from his mouth. The next morning, there was no sign of Clara or Jake. The police were called when neighbors noticed the house dark and silent for days. Officers stepped cautiously into the hallway, past blankets and overturned furniture, until they reached the mirror. Staring back wasn't a reflection. It was two people frozen in place, wide-eyed, unblinking. The glass rippled, then cleared. There was nothing there. The mirror was just a mirror, but the detectives all agreed. For a brief heartbeat, it looked like the figures inside were still watching. To this day, the mirror sits in a storage unit, covered in cloth, untouched by light or breath. But those who've glimpsed beneath the draped fabric swear they see eyes, watching, unblinking, waiting for someone new to peer back at them. And some nights, when the wind is just right, people say they hear a soft, silent whisper, coming not from the lips, but from the reflection that never blinked.